In a shocking and heinous turn of events, husband was found guilty of murdering his wife and his girlfriend's two youngest children. The gruesome case, which began in 2019, revealed the unimaginable horror of a family member betraying and brutally ending the lives of his own loved ones. June 1st, a jury in Idaho unanimously agreed that convicted killer Chad Daybell deserves the death penalty for the gruesome murders of his wife and his girlfriend's two youngest children, ending a grim case that began in 2019 with a search for two missing children. Why? Who is Chad Daybell? Why did the man kill his own wife and murdered innocents? Does he has a criminal history? How many people was involved with Chad? Let's unravel the case. The case started in 2019 when Tylee, Ryan, and Joshua, two missing children, were reported to the police by a family member, where the investigators soon launched a multi-state search. And nearly a year later, their remains were found buried on Chad Daybell's property. Yes, Tylee's DNA was found on a pickaxe and shovel in a shed, and Joshua JJ's body was wrapped in trash bags and duct tape. During the trial, prosecutors revealed that Chad Daybell, a self-published author of doomsday fiction, promoted unusual spiritual beliefs, including apocalyptic prophecies and tales of possession by evil spirits, to justify the killings. Now, Fremont County Prosecutor Lindsay Blake said that this has been a tough case because of its complexity, both in telling the story of an investigation that spanned years and trying to figure out the best way to present it in a way that would make sense to others. But here, the issue arises that why would Chad Daybell have tried to commit these horrific murders? The prosecutors have called dozens of witnesses to bolster their claims that Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow, children's mother, conspired to kill the two children and Tammy Daybell, Chad's first wife, because they wanted to get rid of any obstacles to their relationship and to obtain money from survivor benefits and life insurance. Now, relatives of the victims welcomed the jury's decision, and Daybell's defense attorney, John Pryor, argued that there wasn't enough evidence to tie Daybell to the killings and suggested that Lori Vallow, Daybell's older brother, Alex Cox, was the culprit. But Cox died in late 2019 and was never charged, and Vallow Daybell was convicted last year and sentenced to life in prison without parole. During the sentencing hearing, Pryor asked the jurors to consider Daybell's life before meeting Vallow, Daybell, describing her as a bomb that disrupted his otherwise wholesome life. However, Daybell declined to offer any mitigating evidence to lessen his culpability or justify a lesser sentence. Family members of the victims gave emotional statements to the jurors, and Ryan, Vallow Daybell's oldest child, described the impact of losing his entire family, saying, "My three kids will never know the kindness of Tylee's heart or JJ's silly and goofy personality. It's not an off-statement to say that I lost everything." Now, to impose the death penalty, the jurors had to unanimously find that Daybell met at least one of the aggravating circumstances that qualify someone for capital punishment. They also had to agree that those aggravating factors weren't outweighed by any mitigating factors. Meanwhile, the children's mother, Lori Vallow Daybell, married Chad Daybell shortly after his wife's death. Vallow Daybell was convicted last year for the 3 murders and is awaiting trial in Arizona for the murder of her 4th husband, Charles Vallow, who was Jade's father. Now, the jury concluded that Daybell showed an utter disregard for human life, and that the murders were especially heinous and cruel. Idaho law allows for execution by lethal injection or firing squad, though firing squad executions have never been used in the state.